And so let's get back to that 13, 14 Gonda. What was
Yes.
that next step after you kind of like, I can make money out of this, I can do that and this and that. What was that next step that Gonda said, okay, now I'm 15, 16. What were you still leading that way in entrepreneurship, or your mindset went through another way?
No, it was, I guess, I saw it and I learned it, but being a kid, it's being a kid. So it's
Hmm.
I did always have little hustles and things like that here and there, but I had so many jobs because I even had like a paper route. I was like
Oh,
delivering
cool.
newspapers before school. Like, I worked at McDonald's, I worked at Burger King, like through high school. And then, even in college, I was delivering pizzas. I worked at a call center. Like, I was always like working and hustling. So I always had that grind, but it wasn't always, you know, entrepreneurship or building a business and things like
Mm,
that, right? But it's one of those things that I think it is a mindset, but it took me time to really figure out and develop what is it that I want to do that makes sense for me,
mm,
right? Because yeah, some of those ideas and things like that were great. Because even when I was in college, there was different little things of software. I was like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. You started, but then you don't really finish it and
that's
things like
true.
that. So um, yeah, because I went to school for computer science, so yeah, so wanted to build and develop and you know different pieces of software, but then it was always like, all right, how do I build something that can provide residual income,
Mm,
right? And that was always the challenge, right? And even let's say with websites or software projects, you build it, it goes, you build it, it goes, you
mhm.
build it, it goes, right? But to be able to sustain yourself, you need to be able to have things that would be able to, as we get, speaking of business, that can have consistent revenue,
Yeah,
right? So that you can plan and grow your business
yeah.
and scale. So as I guess I was growing and going through certain things, yeah, there was stuff that I was doing, and it helped me learn along the way to be able to get to a point where I said,
Hmm.
okay, this is what makes sense for me,
Hmm.
right? Going back to like what I was saying, it depends on what you're good at that adds value to other people.
That's true.
But it took me time to figure out what am I good at and that I actually enjoy.
So through those times that you were like leading and guiding through college and going through entrepreneurship and all those jobs,
Hmm.
what somebody that you saw through the fitness. Now we're gonna get into like how did you saw how it works, or before how it works, the fitness, like, okay, I see, like, I see that route, like.
Well, I didn't see fitness as a business before, but fitness was always part of my life,
Mm,
right? So coming up, always doing sports, and like I said, even
mm,
like when I was doing the blow pop thing, we'd be out like with my friends, like on our bikes, playing football in the like tackle football in the yard. We used to play kill the carrier. You throw the ball up, and somebody catches it, runs around, and whoever has the ball, everybody tackles, and when that person's down, you just throw it. Like yeah. So with sports, we'd ride our bikes, play basketball for hours. So I was always into being active. I played sports in high school and stuff like that, and even in college. So all that was always like a part of my life, right? And then I got exposed to Hotworks, and when I tried it, I was like, "Whoa,
mm,
this is great!" Because even at that point, I was actually looking to real estate and wanted to get into real estate and investing and stuff like that and studying that. But then I did a workout, and like in that 15-minute workout, I felt like I just did like 3 hours of football practice like I did when I was younger. I was like, wow, the way that I'm drenched and sweating, I just felt like, wow. Like, and then when I started to understand the science behind it
mm,
and how it could help people make them healthier, I'm like, oh, I can actually build a business that helps people and I can eat off of it too. That's
mm.
right. Exactly. So it's like the motive is helping people.
Helping
So
people.
that's where I was understanding this, and I was like, okay, I could do real estate, but Hotworks is a new thing, right? And it's growing and stuff like that. Let's get into it, and let's see what comes from it. So,
Because that's how I met you. I remember I was working at a daycare right there in Fulshire.
yep.
And then I myself was like, okay, I don't feel too good in my body.
Hmm.
I need to,
How
find a
many
way.
years ago is that?
Man, that was
That
before COVID. That was still
is
before
that
COVID.
exactly? I was about to say 2019 or
Somewhere
something
around
like that.
2018, somewhere around
Dang,
there. But
dang.
but but before, where I want to make, I don't remember how Because I know that where did we met? And then
No,
like,
I think it was around there, yeah, because I think we were talking, and you were saying and talking about like going back to video and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
You were reaching out and saying, "Hey, do you need this content and this or whatever?" And that's how we started a conversation,
Mm.
right? And then,
Oh,
yeah,
and you invited me to go over. Like, hey, coming
yeah,
over. Yeah, I
exactly. And then
remember.
we started talking and things like that. And I think that's where, um, going back to that drive and that go-getiveness of something that you want. For example, you wanted to do video and you're starting to reach out and talk to people and things like that. But now, because of you stepping out and moving towards what you want, look at our friendship and a relationship. How many years later?
That's true. It's 2025 now.
And
We're
now
going
we're
2026.
making money together.
And we're making money together.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
so true. But we kept our relationship. We kept it.
yes,
Yeah, there were some times that maybe we
hmm,
were both busy and doing stuff,
yes,
but the relationship never went away. It
yeah,
was still there.
yeah,
And that's just beautiful about like you guys that starting to build relationship with other business owners or partners and stuff like that. Keep that,
hmm,
because it's beautiful.
yeah,
But make sure that you're surrounded with that right person. Because I mean, we all went through it. I know you went through it. Somebody backstabbed us, and we thought there was somebody that was gonna
yeah,
help us, and it
yeah.
ended up not being that way.
But that's part of life, not just business. There's always going to be,
Yeah.
you know, bad actors. But the thing is that, like you're saying, you want to keep the good people around you. And I think it starts with you yourself being a good person,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're a good person and the way you move is to look out for other people and to take care of people, then the good stuff pans out and that takes care of itself,
That's
right?
very true.
So yeah.
And then like I remember like right after that I tried it. I loved it, and then I went in and joined,
Hmm.
and then it was tough. I remember it was tough for me. I was like,
Hmm.
"Holy crap!" 15 minutes, but I came out super sweaty, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Nah, this is it." Like I was like, I remember I told you like, man, I went to all these different gyms,
Hmm.
and I put in an hour and a half, and I never like sweated.
Hmm.
In here I sweated.
Hmm.
And I still took some time to do something because you have the weights and you're able to
Yeah, exactly.
utilize that as well.
Hmm.
And now I'm even more consistent on it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, to your point, being consistent is the key,
Mm,
right? Because even for me, like I owned Hotworks, but I think it took me 2 or 3 years before I was actually consistent.
mm.
And then once I started being consistent, you can look at my charts. I think, and you could look at the pictures. I was about like 220 at one point, and then I started being consistent, and now I go, just about 5 days a week, and I dropped all the way down to 185 pounds,
Mm.
right? So, but now I already have my routine. I know when I do this, I do this, I do that. This is how I maintain my
It's like
healthy
your
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I tell people don't. Everybody wants to like, oh, I gotta get a strict diet and stuff like that. Depending who the person is, but I'm like, if you build a lifestyle around you that you don't have to leave. Oh man, I love burgers. I love this. You don't
Mhm.
have to leave it. It's just figure out your lifestyle, how your body works.
And
Everybody's body works different.
yeah, and I think sometimes people make it more complex than it needs to be,
Mm.
right? So it's like eat healthy, so don't eat crap all the time,
Mm. Mm.
right? Get your heart rate up regularly.
Yeah.
And that's the cardio and stuff like that, and lift heavy.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
true.
really like those are
The three
the thing
things.
exactly. So if you keep those principles, right? And I notice whenever I'm not doing those things, that's when the weight starts to go up.
That's true. Ah, that's very
It,
true.
it, seriously. And then when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch what I eat. I'm gonna get my heart rate up at least, regularly, at least five days a week, and then throughout the week, I'm at least lift 3 or 4 days a week.
Hmm.
The body starts regulating itself, body fat goes down, and all that stuff.